Okay, good morning everyone, and Hazab Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday morning. Shavua Tov everyone, and welcome back to another great week of learning the Parashah, practical Parashah. Here we go. Parashat Vayishlah. Vayishlah, what does Shalah mean? Shalah means to send. Vayishlah Yaakov Malachim Lefanav El Esav Ahiv Arza Seir Sedeh Edom. So Yaakov Avinu is about to head back home to the land of Israel, and he knows the reality is that when he gets back home, there's going to be trouble waiting for him. Who is that trouble? His name is Esav, and Yaakov is going to have to, he's forced, the inevitable is he's going to have to encounter Esav. So he decides to take the initiative, to be proactive, and he sends messengers to Esav to notify him that he's coming, and he has a message. And his message is, Kotomerun ladoni Esav, tell my brother, tell Esav, Ko amar avdecha Yaakov, I want you to say the following to Yaakov. Say the following. The following your master, your servant Yaakov said. Ko amar avdecha Yaakov, your servant Yaakov says the following. Im Lavan garti va'eharadata. Till now, I've been with Lavan. That's why it took me so long to get back. Vayili shor v'hamor v'tzon. I have oxen, and I have donkeys, and I have sheep. Ve'eved v'shivcha, and I have servants and maidservants. And I'm sending them to you as a gift. They're yours. Here, I want to give you. If I could find favor in your eyes. So Yaakov Avinu over here is trying a little bit to bribe Esav. He's giving him a gift. Always a gift helps. Okay, if you are someone who wants something, give a little gift. You know, people that are in business, they give a little bit of a gift when they're meeting someone. You give them tickets to a basketball game or a hockey game. You give them an iPad. People like gifts. Okay? Anything you want in life, good advice. This is good advice. It's probably a good idea to give the person a gift. And a little bit, it blinds the person. It bribes the person. Okay, now that would be illegal if it was a judge. You can't bribe a judge. But I'll give you an example. Let's say you're in the shidduch world. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Good advice. If you know a sharchanit, you know a matchmaker, and you are a girl or a boy, but more likely girls, because there's just a bigger need for a girl to find someone. The guy, the reality is, unfortunately, guy has the upper hand. Guy could get older, and he could still get a new young girl out of high school. The girls are at a disadvantage in dating. So if you're a girl and you go to a matchmaker, now you're one of 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, 500, 1,000 girls. What's going to make this sharchanit think about you? So be smart. Give her a gift. Get her to like you so that she's thinking about you. Now when a boy comes along, the first person on her mind is you. You understand? Just good advice. So Yaakov Avinu over here, he's sending to Lavan, to Esav a message. He says, here's some gifts. I want you to have them. And again, there's a lot of deep ideas over here of what is he trying to say by giving him his brother these things. Now, Rabbeinu Bahyeh, who we're trying to study this year together, he has a very interesting observation. A few observations on this pasuk. And again, it's a pasuk that you read it and you think nothing of it. But look at this pasuk. Vayili shor v'hamor v'tzon. I have oxen and donkeys, sheep and servants. And it says Rabbeinu Bahyeh, Hiskir oshro berav mi'ut. Yaakov mentions his wealth here in the singular. Vayili shor. What's shor? Singular. Hamor, singular. Tzon, singular. Eved, singular. Shivha, singular. Yaakov, as he's flexing, as he's showing off how much money he has, he mentions it in the singular. Why? Kanyan shekatuv, like the pasuk says, Ali talel ashir be'oshro. Because in life, we shouldn't get arrogant over the money that we have. Our riches is not something to be proud of. Riches is God's. How much money we have is not something that is our accomplishment. There are many people that are much smarter than us, or much more talented, and they don't have as much money as we have. Money is mazal. Money is up to God. The Brisker Rav, the famous story, he once saw one of his students from the yeshiva that went out into working. And he sees his student many, many years later. And he says to his student, "So, how are you doing?" The student says, "Rabbi, Baruch Hashem, killing it. Really, thank God, business is booming." A few minutes later, the rabbi says to the student, "And so, tell me, how are you doing?" The student's like, "Great, really. I mean, if you want to know, like in revenue, how many millions, like I'm really doing good, Baruch Hashem." A few minutes later, he says, "So, tell me, how are you doing?" He's like, "Rabbi, I don't understand. He asked me 3 times and I'm telling you how I'm doing." And the rabbi looks at him and he says, "You don't understand. I keep asking you how you're doing, and you keep answering me how God's doing. Your money, your business, your success is not you, it's God. It's something that you did. Al yitalel ashir be'oshro." We shouldn't pride ourselves in our riches. Only thing that is really ours in this world, really what's ours, what's our accomplishment, is bezot yitalel. With this we should pride, by the fact that we know God, our midot, our good character, our choices, morals, mitzvot, averot, that's ours. That's hakol bidei shamayim, chutz miyirat shamayim. And he continues and says, "V'chen derech hatzadikim," and that is the way of the righteous, my friends. "Shemema'atim et atzman et kol asher lahem." They belittle themselves and their belongings. They don't show off. The way of the righteous, doesn't matter how much money they have, is not to show off how much they have. Keep it private. Yaakov Avinu, he says to Esav, I have an ox, I have a sheep, I have a donkey, I have a good job. I don't have to show the world how good of a job. You go on vacation, you don't have to show the world where you went. Some things, it's nice to keep it just private. No one needs to know. Keep it simple, keep it quiet. Tzniut, modesty. Aval harsha'im, the wicked, meromemin et atzman, they boast their wealth. Ve'et kor la'asher lahem. Kegon Esav, just like Esav, what does Esav say? When he meets Yaakov, he says, Yesh li rav. I have a lot. Not a rabbi. He didn't say I have a rav, I have a rabbi. Rav also means a lot. Yesh li rav, I have a lot. Yaakov, I have a lot. I go on 4 vacations a year, and I drive 3 cars, and, just saying, I have 3 maids, and, I shop in this and this department store, and I'm wearing these shoes, and I make sure that it has a logo so that you can know it, right? That's the way of Esav. Esav shows off all his money. Okay, beautiful. Continues Rabbeinu Bahya and says, V'haya. Now really, the order here of ox, donkey, and sheep, if you know text, you should know that that's not the right order. Really, if you know text, the pasuk should have first listed sheep. Always, out of the animals, which one is first? Sheep. Because it is the most superior species amongst the animals. Wow. Sheep is the most superior species of animals. Very interesting. Matter of fact, certain nations, right, used to deify the sheep. The sheep is a special animal, and the text gives it primacy. As an example, Sheken Katuv be'Avraham, we find by Avraham, my friends, when Avraham Avinu goes down to Egypt. Remember the story? Paro abducts Sarah, and the next morning he gives her gifts. The pasuk says, "Ulavram hetiv ba'avura." He gave Avraham a lot of gifts on behalf of Sarah. Vayihlo, and therefore what did he give him? Tzon ubakar, sheep and cattle. So you see, first is sheep. Furthermore, by Yitzchak Avinu, it says, "Vayihlo mikne tzon umikne bakar." He had flocks of sheep, herds of cattle, va'avuda rabba, etc. Gam beYaakov, also Yaakov, vahilo tzon rabot, ushfahot, va'abadim, ugmalim, v'hamorim. Min hatzon, bottom line, what am I proving to you? Says Rabbeinu Bahye, always the species of sheep, kodem, lechol habehemot. Sheep is always first. Uma shelo hikdimo bekatuv hazeh. So then when you go back to our pasuk, Rabbeinu Bahye is asking over here a technical question. And it's not a question that you would necessarily ask if you were just reading the pasuk quickly, but it's a question. Vayilo shor v'hamor tzon ve'evet v'shivcha. All of a sudden, sheep is last. ¿Por qué? Pourquoi? Lama? Madua? Why? Good question. Why is sheep last? It's a good question. It's a fair question. Explains Rabbeinu Bahye. Uma shelo ikdimo b'katuv hazeh. You know why Yaakov doesn't start with sheep first? Lefi shelo ratza liftoach lo betzon. Because sheep is a trigger word for Esav. Why? Lefi she'al yedeh hatzon, because it's because of sheep. Nitroken Esav in berachot, that Esav lost the brachot. On that day that Yaakov came in to get the blessings instead of Esav, what does he feed his father? He goes, the pasuk says, his mother says to him, Lechna el hatzon, v'kahli misham shnei gedayeh ezim. He says, go to the sheep. Yaakov feeds his father sheep. It was lamb. And that is specifically why Yaakov doesn't want to mention sheep right away. Sheep is a trigger word. It gets under Esav's skin. It gets under his skin. Ah, sheep! That's what you stole from me! That's why I want to kill you! Yaakov's trying to tone it down. Sometimes you're in a fight. Defuse the situation. By the way, if you're wondering, is Esav still angry? Look at this. Vayishlach Yaakov malachim lefanav el Esav ahiv. Yaakov sends messengers to Esav. And if you will ask, where does Esav live? Arza Seir Sedeh Edom. He lives in Seir in Edom. Whoa! What is Seir? Seir is a goat, right? On Yom Kippur, there's a Seir la Hashem and a Seir la Azazel. So Seir, the goat, it's a very, very trigger word. That's a word that's very, very bitter to Esav. Edom, red. The lentils, red. The two moments that Esav got cheated in his life, or at least he feels that he got cheated from his brother, was when he sold him the birthright for the lentils, for the red lentils, and when the goats. So those, Esav, he named all of his cities. He named where he lived based on these two moments in life. So is Esav still angry? Oh yes. He named the city, you cheated me. Welcome to you cheated me. That's what he called the city. So he's very angry. So Yaakov says that Rabbeinu Bahye puts the sheep at the end because he doesn't want to remind his brother of the brachot. He doesn't want to remind him. Again, very, very smart. You can learn a lot of advice from how he approaches someone who's angry at him. A lot of times people are angry at us, and we learn from here things to do. Number one, giving gifts. Number two, try to stay away from mentioning the triggers in the person, in their mind. And Esav, of course, doesn't want peace. Esav, they come back, the messengers, they say, he's coming with 400 men. We saw the number 400 in the past with Rabbeinu Bahye. It's a number of Ayin Ra, it's a number of stinginess and greed. And Esav's angry, he's ready to fight. And of course, they meet face to face. And the pasuk says, it's only after they meet face to face that he runs and he kisses him. And I think there's a very powerful message. And sometimes when we're in conflict with someone and we're trying to resolve that conflict, the way to do it is not over text. The way to do it is not through a phone call. You gotta be face to face. Esav is angry until he meets him. And when he sees his brother, when we're in a conflict, a lot of times a conflict is because of a misunderstanding. Sometimes not, but many times it is. We misunderstood them or they misunderstood us. Abraham Lincoln had a line, he says, I don't like them. I should get to know them better. Sometimes people don't like us. It's because there's a misunderstanding. If someone's angry at something that we said, many times in a speech, maybe a rabbi will give a speech and a person will come to them and say, Rabbi, how could you say this? And the rabbi needs to clarify. There's a misunderstanding here. I didn't mean to say that. That may be what you heard, but I'm sorry if you took it the wrong way, because that's not what I meant to say. The Pasuk says, Mishnah says in Pirkei Avot, Al tadin havercha shetagia lemkomo. Don't judge your friend till you get to his place. And on a simple level, that means don't judge your friend until you get into their shoes. Yeah? Many times it's easy for us to sit back and to judge people. If you're religious, you judge the not religious. If you're not religious, you judge the religious. If you're poor, you judge the rich. And if you're rich, you judge the poor. In life, it's easy for us to judge. Famous story of the student that said to his Rabbi, look at all these rich people. If they just shared a portion of their wealth, they would solve all of the poverty problems where we live. And sure enough, one day this student became himself a very wealthy person, and he gave the least tzedakah of all. I'm sure this is ma'asim b'chol yom. Unfortunately, this is things that happen everyday occurrences. It's easy to sit back and to judge other people. Don't judge someone until you're in their shoes, until you know what they're going through. But maybe we could understand the Mishnah in a deeper version. Al tadin chavercha, don't judge someone. Don't get angry at someone. Ad shetagia limkomo, until you literally get face to face. Like Yaakov and Esav. Have a conversation in person. Get to understand what they were saying. Why were they saying it? Face to face. You cannot put a price on that conversation. When you see their expressions and you understand them. Yaakov, he sends messenger after messenger to Esav and it doesn't help. And one smile, one facial expression is enough to remove all of the years of hatred that Esav has in him for Yaakov. So this is the tactics over here of Yaakov Avinu. He's making sure not to first mention a lot. He says, have one ox, one sheep. Secondly, he puts sheep at the end of the sentence. Aval, but continues Rabbeinu Bahye and says, Ka'asher hazru ha-malachim el Yaakov. When the messengers come back to Yaakov and they're reporting back, they say, we came to your brother. Higdim et atzon. It says when Yaakov's now planning and he's strategizing for the battle with Esav, he splits his camp. And look what the pasuk over here. Vayahatz et ha'am asher ito ve'et hatzon ve'et habakar. He splits, and what's mentioned first? Now we go back to the regular order. To tzon. Tzon is first. Because always, like we said, sheep comes first. Gam ahash nitaratzalo. And even after they make peace, vekibel min hato higdim oto. Then also after the peace is made, what does it say? Adoni yodeya ki hayladim rakim vehatzon vehabakar alot alai. He says, Esav says, let's walk together. And what does Yaakov say? Listen, the children are weak, the tender, the sheep and the cattle. So you see again, sheep always goes first. He only doesn't put him first when he's sending him the gifts. He puts sheep last because sheep is a trigger word for Esav. You want to avoid angering people. If you know someone doesn't like something and you're sitting on the same table as them, don't talk about that thing. If you're sitting with friends and family at a Thanksgiving dinner or at a Pesach dinner or at a Shabbat dinner, and you know your friend is a very, very opinionated in politics on a certain side of the aisle, avoid talking about politics. Don't trigger people. There's no mitzvah to get under people's skin, my friends. It's not a mitzvah, I promise you. After 120, God's not going to say, did you annoy people? Did you get under their skin? Did you do a good job of stirring the pot? Were you a good devil's advocate? There's no mitzvah to do that. Avoid confrontation. Avoid annoying people. Avoid getting into topics of conversation that you know will get heated. Hacham enav berosho. A man, smart guy, he could think a step ahead. You're going to destroy the whole Shabbat dinner now. And then you're going to fight with your siblings or your uncles or whoever it is on the table. And then your mom's whole meal that she prepared so hard for is going to go down the drain. Is that a mitzvah? You tell me. If they don't like sheep, don't mention the word sh. Don't talk about it in sh. Anything with an sh, you avoid it. No sheep and no chocolate or whatever starts with an sh. Okay? Avoid anything with an sh. Understand? That's what Yaakov Avinu is teaching us. Okay. Next. Continues Rabbeinu Bahya. Uba Midrash, and we'll end with this. Look at this. Beautiful. Vayhi shor v'hamor. Here. You know why he starts with shor? Simple answer. Avoid confrontation. There's no mitzvah to get under people's skin. Beautiful. But let me tell you, says Rabbeinu Bahya, a little deeper today. Vayili shor v'hamor. You know why he starts with shor? Again, the simple answer, he wants to put sheep at the end. But now, no. Why does he put ox in the beginning? I'll tell you why. Ramazlo. He's hinting to him. Because Kvar Nolad Yosef. We have the ox. He's alluding to Esav. He's saying, Esav, if you're coming to fight me, bring it on, brother. Because I got the ox, I got the shor, I got the Yosef. Shehu sitno shel Esav, who is the enemy of Esav. Hu shekatuv, which by the way, the Pasuk says in Ovadia, Vehaya bet Yaakov ish, the house of Yaakov will be fire. Ubet Yosef lehava, the house of Joseph, a flame. Ubet Esav lekash, in the house of Esav, straw. So Yaakov, over here the Pasuk says that if Esav is straw, you know who's going to destroy that straw? You know who's going to destroy the fire, the flame that's going to consume it? Is Yosef, the lehava. V'dalku bahem v'achlum, and they're going to consume and devour Esav. So the enemy, the person that's going to destroy and kill Esav, historically, we believe, is specifically Yosef or a descendant of Yosef. And that's why Yosef, when Moshe Rabbeinu is passing away, he says, Bechor shoro hadar lo, like the firstling bull in his majesty. He has horns like the horns of a wild ox. Yosef is compared to a shor. Yosef is an ox. Matter of fact, we know that when Moshe Rabbeinu was looking for the bones of Yosef, he takes a piece of paper and he writes on it, the Midrash says, Ale shor, rise ox, rise ox. And he throws it into the fire, you'll see why I said fire in a minute. He throws it into the Nile, and what rises to the top? The coffin of Yosef. And there was a boy there. There was a boy who saw this magical piece of paper, and he grabs it. And this paper was used a few weeks later by the Egel when they put all the golds. What came out of the gold? An ox, an Egel. Why Egel? Because Micha threw in, I believe, right? Was Micha, was that his name? He threw in that piece of paper that said Ale Shor, rise ox. He threw that into the fire, and of course an Egel arose. So Yosef is a shor. Yosef is a bull. Yeah, Yosef is a bull. And there's a lot of connections of the bull and, the story of Chad Gadya, the sheep and the goat. And then the bull is Yosef. And who's going to kill the bull, right? We know there's Mashiach ben Yosef and there's Mashiach ben David. There's two Mashiachs. Mashiach ben Yosef is going to get killed in the battle. And that's alluded to in the song Chad Gadya, when it says that the Satan, when the butcher is going to kill the shor. The butcher is referring to Esav, and he's going to die. Yosef is going to die. But eventually, and again, I don't want to get into the song right now, but eventually we have two Mashiachs. We have Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben Yosef is needed to destroy Esav. And Mashiach ben David is needed to destroy Ishmael. Yes? We spoke about this once. How we have two Mashiachs because we need to get rid of both of our enemies, Esav and Ishmael. And so Yosef is the one who's going to fight Esav for us. And then he's going to die in that battle. But then we're going to have Mashiach ben David who's going to get rid of Ishmael. And again, what exactly does that mean and who is that? Again, is not for me to say. But just to talk for a minute about why is it that specifically Yosef is the antithesis or the kryptonite of Esav? Why is it that Yosef is needed to wipe out Esav and not someone else? And this goes back to something that we've spoken about in the past. Esav represents in one word, my friends, in one word, Esav is superficiality. We know that Esav is compared to the pig. Esav is the chazir. And the chazir is the only animal in the world. You could check far and wide. It's the only animal out of millions of animals that has split hooves but doesn't chew its cud. Yes? Because a pig is kosher on the outside. Look at me. Kosher. Right here. Take a look. I'm kosher. But he's taref on the inside. He's treif. He doesn't chew its cud. He's not kosher. He's an external animal. He's a faker. He shows everyone his good side. Look how nice I am. Look how kind I am. Look how much good I do. And that was Esav. Esav all day was hunting, killing, adultery, murder. And he would come home and say, Dad, how do you give ma'aser on salt? Like, I want to give $1,000 to this organization and $1,000 to that organization. And Esav was a show-off, showing the whole world how righteous he is. Look how much money I give to tzedakah. And what's he doing in his backyard? What's he doing in the privacy of his house? What's he doing when no one's looking? He's a faker. And today, the world that we live in, and this is what Rome is. Rome compared to a pig. Right? Esav is all about the outside. Rome. Right? That's the galut that we're in. Today, you see today, my friends, how Rome is impacting the world that we live in. It's today all about the externals. It's all about the brand. People are happy to pay for fake as long as it says on the outside of it Prada or whatever brand it is, because it's about how it looks like. It doesn't matter the quality, it matters the quantity. It's all about marketing and advertising. Today's leaders, like pigs, they show on the outside that we have standards, and then you see on the inside that they're corrupt. Masechet Sotah says that at the end of time, when Mashiach is coming, truth will disappear. Ha'emet ne'ederet. We are witnessing that, my friends, today in a generation that's all about the showcasing. It's no longer about being true on the inside. When dating, how many people are looking for the wrong things, for the superficials, for pretty, for looks, for wealth, for honor, for prestige, instead of looking for good character. I quoted, I think yesterday, right, when we were in the Berber village in Morocco, the only thing that mattered, right? You know how they dated in Morocco? In the Berber village, let me tell you how they dated. The father had the first say, not the boy. The father would go and he would look for, the mother would go first. The mother would look for a girl that had good midot, that was wife quality, mother material, right? Balabasta, shatra, like we say in Arabic. And then after she would line up a few girls, the father then comes, and then he would see which family do they shtim with, as they say in Arabic. Which family do we sync with? And then, after narrowing it down even more, if there were more than one option, usually not, but if there was two girls that would fit the bill, then the boy would have a say of who he wanted to marry. You understand? But they married not for looks and not for money. It was all about quality, for midot. Today's generation, we lost that. And now we understand maybe a little bit why, to conquer, to defeat, to fight that, you need Rachel, and you need a descendant of Rachel, i.e. Yosef. Because what do we know about Rachel? The Gemara tells us that Rachel, we know last week, she gave up the signs. She allowed her sister to go in and to marry Yaakov instead of her. My friends, allow me to ask you a question. And feel free to write in your answers on the side. In one word, what would you call that trait? What would you call it? Rachel's sacrifice of giving her sister the signs. What trait is that? Right? I would say maybe it's foregoing, mevater. I would say it's very kind. It was sensitive. I like that word. But you know what our rabbis say? Our rabbis say that it was actually the midah of tzniut, modest. That's a shock. That's modesty? How is that? Why is that modesty? How is that tzniut? Well, what is tzniut, my friends? Tzniut is to be. We often think of tzniut as, wearing a shirt past the elbow and covering the knees and the collarbone. But that's not what tzniut is. Tzniut really is about being private. It's also about being private with your body, but it's not only that. It doesn't end at that. It's not exclusive to body. It's also being private in how you talk. It's being private in how you act. It's being private in our lifestyle and not showing it and flexing it to the whole world, flashing it. Why is it that we like to flash? Why is it that we like to show? Why is it that we show off our accomplishments to people? You ever thought about that? You achieve something fantastic. Now you go and you tell, I did this, I gave that, I helped here, I learned this, I finished Shas. Why is it that we like to tell people? If you think about it, because we want to feel good. We need people to know. But what about the fact that you know? Is that not enough? The fact that you yourself, you know that you did it. Does that not suffice? Is that not sufficient? Well, it depends. If we consider ourselves a someone, if our lives are only meaningful because other people perceive them as such, we have no real intrinsic existence. If I need other people to applaud me or to give me a thumbs up, if my life is only valuable when someone else says so, then my life to myself means nothing. Maybe that's what Hillel means, im en ani li, mi li. If I need other people's approval for my own life, if I need someone else to validate my existence, if I can't validate my own existence, im en ani li, mi li. I ultimately can't rely on other people to do it. It's all fake anyways. I have to be able to know who I am, to know what I'm worth. If we only exist as a reflection in the eyes of other people, and so they have to know what I'm doing or else my life has no worth. So that is the life of Esav. Rachel, you know why she kept quiet? You know why she kept to herself? Because I know. And no one else needs to know. It doesn't matter if you know or not, I know. And that's enough for me. I am a someone. Rachel is authentic. Rachel is real. And she is the antidote to Esav's of life. Yeah, she knows who she is. She knows what she carries. We cannot allow Esav to creep into our lives, my friends. We have things, and it's beautiful to keep sometimes the things that we have private. We need to have the confidence, the confidence and the strong self-image to be able to know that what I have and what I am is real, that my existence matters. So that is why I think Rabbeinu Bahia is saying here that in order to fight Esav, you need Yosef. And so now we understand why when Esav is listing when Yaakov is listing all of the animals that he has, you know which animal Yaakov puts first? He puts the shor. That wasn't because the sheep was a trigger word and therefore the sheep should go last. But it was on purpose. We need sheep to be first. because Esav, you're coming at me. It's fine. But I got the power. I got the enemy. I got the antidote. I have Yosef. I have the shor. And he's going to fight you. I'm real. I have the authenticity. I have the genuine character, the modest character of the people like Yosef and his mother Rahel. Okay, I think we'll stop over here. A lot to think about, a lot to talk about. Hope everyone has an amazing, fantastic day ahead. God willing, we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.